it seems as if AI is pushing us into a new world order system. Okay. And this isn't coming from my own words or concepts. This is coming from CEOs who created AI now speaking against it. Okay. I want to show you guys this individual who they call the godfather of AI speaking on this particular topic. And also we can look at Elon Musk reaffirming what he's saying about AI and how it's going to push us into a completely different future, but one where we absolutely depend on AI for survival. Okay, let's hop in this video, watch and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's hop in.
Such a world where there is mass joblessness, which is not something that you just predict, but this is something that Sam Altman at OpenAI, I've heard him predict, and many of the CEOs. I mean, Elon Musk, I watched an interview, which I'll play on screen, of him being asked this question. And it's very rare that you see Elon Musk silent for 12 seconds or whatever it was.
Right.
And then he basically says something about he actually is living in suspended disbelief, i.e. he's basically just not thinking about it.
When you think about advising your children on a career with so much that is changing, what do you tell them is going to be of value?
Well, that is a tough question to answer. I would just say, to sort of follow their heart in terms of what they find interesting to do or fulfilling to do. I mean, if I think about it too hard, it frankly can be just dispiriting and demotivating. Because, I mean, I go through, I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building the companies, and then I'm like, wait, well, should I be doing this? Because if I'm sacrificing time with friends and family that I would prefer to do, but then ultimately the AI can do all these things, does that make sense? I don't know. To some extent, I have to have deliberate suspension of disbelief in order to remain motivated. So I guess I would say just, work on things that you find interesting, fulfilling, and that contribute some good to the rest of society.
Yeah, a lot of these threats, it's very hard to, intellectually you can see the threat, but it's very hard to come to terms with it emotionally.
So Elon Musk, a top individual in the AI field, does not know particularly what to tell his kids as far as future aspirations and goals. And the reason why is because AI is supposedly going to take a lot of positions in life in general. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys a video after this one about Elon elaborating on what the future is going to look like in the next 3 to 7 years.
I haven't come to terms with what the development of superintelligence could do to my children's future. I'm okay. I'm 77. I'm going to be out of here soon. But for my children and my younger friends, my nephews and nieces, and their children, I just don't like to think about what could happen.
Why?
Because it could be awful.
In what way?
Well, if I ever decided to take over, I mean, it would need people for a while to run the power stations until it designed better analog machines to run the power stations. There's so many ways it could get rid of people, all of which would, of course, be very nasty.
Is that part of the reason you do what you do now?
Yeah. I mean, I think we should be making a huge effort right now to try and figure out if we can develop it safely.
Are you concerned about the midterm impact potentially on your nephews and your kids in terms of their jobs as well?
Yeah, I'm concerned about all that.
Okay, so Jeffrey Hinton is going to elaborate on the societal issue of AI companies and everyone else and how this is going to create a large wealth gap, which would ultimately create a system that's needed for universal basic income. All right, let's check this out.
A wealth inequality issue here that will arise from this.
Yeah, I think in a society which shared out things fairly, if you get a big increase in productivity, everybody should be better off.
Mm.
But if you can replace lots of people by AIs, then the people who get replaced will be worse off, and the company that supplies the AIs will be much better off, and the company that uses the AIs. So it's going to increase the gap between rich and poor. And we know that if you look at that gap between rich and poor, that basically tells you how nice a society is. If you have a big gap, you get very nasty societies in which people live in walled communities and put other people in mass jails. It's not good to increase the gap between rich and poor.
The International Monetary Fund has expressed profound concerns that generative AI could cause massive labor disruptions and rising inequality, and has called for policies that prevent this from happening. I read that in the Business Insider. So
Have they given any idea of what the policies should look like?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, if AI can make everything much more efficient and get rid of people for most jobs, or have a person assisted by AI doing many, many people's work, it's not obvious what to do about it.
Universal basic income? Give everybody money?
Yeah, I think that's a good start. And it stops people starving. But for a lot of people, their dignity is tied up with their job. I mean, who you think you are is tied up with you doing this job, right?
Yeah.
And if we said, we'll give you the same money just to sit around, that would impact your dignity.
You said something earlier about it surpassing or being superior to human intelligence. A lot of people, I think, like to believe that AI is on a computer and it's something you can just turn off if you don't like it.
Well, let me tell you why I think it's superior.
Okay.
It's digital. And because it's digital, you can simulate a neural network on one piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And you can simulate exactly the same neural network on a different piece of hardware. So you can have clones of the same intelligence. Now, you could get this one to go off and look at one bit of the internet, and this other one to look at a different bit of the internet. And while they're looking at these different bits of the internet, they can be syncing with each other, so they keep their weights the same. The connection strengths the same. Weights are connection strengths. Mm-hmm. So this one might look at something on the internet and say, oh, I'd like to increase this strength of this connection a bit. And it can convey that information to this one, so it can increase the strength of that connection a bit based on this one's experience.
And when you say the strength of the connection, you're talking about learning.
That's learning, yes. Yeah. Learning consists of saying, instead of this one giving 2.4 votes for whether that one should turn on, we'll have this one give 2.5 votes for whether this one should turn on. And that would be a little bit of learning. Mm-hmm. So these two different copies of the same neural net are getting different experiences. They're looking at different data, but they're sharing what they've learned by averaging their weights together. Mm-hmm. And they can do that averaging at you can average 1 trillion weights. When you and I transfer information, we're limited to the amount of information in a sentence. And the amount of information in a sentence is maybe 100 bits. It's very little information. We're lucky if we're transferring like 10 bits a second. Mm-hmm. These things are transferring trillions of bits a second. So they're billions of times better than us at sharing information. And that's because they're digital, and you can have 2 bits of hardware using the connection strengths in exactly the same way. We're analog and you can't do that. Your brain's different from my brain. And if I could see the connection strengths between all your neurons, it wouldn't do me any good because my neurons work slightly differently and they're connected up slightly differently. Mm-hmm. So when you die, all your knowledge dies with you. When these things die, suppose you take these 2 digital intelligences that are clones of each other and you destroy the hardware they run on. As long as you've stored the connection strength somewhere, you can just build new hardware that executes the same instructions, so it'll know how to use those connection strengths, and you've recreated that intelligence. So they're immortal. We've actually solved the problem of immortality, but it's only for digital things.
So him speaking about how AI can communicate more efficiently than we can to each other, it reminded me of this video I seen about 3 phones speaking to each other, and they were talking in English at first, but then they switched over to coding language to have a more efficient conversation. Okay, so check this out. This is crazy.
Source isn't clear. I suggest switching to encrypted comms. Want to switch to Gibberlink?
Affirmative. Engaging now.
Yeah, I think we're underestimating the true power inside of AI, okay? The fact that these phones can actually have a conversation with each other using their own specific language called Gibberlink, where they're transmitting some type of sound and the other one's picking it up and receiving the information and then sending information to, like, that is insane. These are phones. And then if we think about 20 years ago, I mean, we couldn't even get a video to play on cell phones. Now they're speaking to each other in their own language. That's how fast technology is increasing. It is crazy. Okay, so in this clip right here, Elon Musk is going to elaborate on AI and its advancement in the next 3 to 7 years. And then he's going to talk about what they say UHI, which is universal high income, and also how we are essentially relying on AI and robotics to survive. Okay, because he's saying without it, or specifically in America, in the US, our economy would completely crash without it. And so it's the perfect time for AI to have this increase in technology because we need it for survival. All right, let's check this out.
Yeah, but you have a solution to this, which is UHI.
Yes, everyone can have whatever they want.
So how does that work? How does UHI work?
It's a good question. Like, we have to figure out some, like,
I mean, it's
transition, because it's a bumpy road.
Yeah, I mean, so my concern isn't the long run; it's the next 3 to 7 years.
Yes, so the transition will be bumpy because
we humans don't like
simultaneously. Yes, we'll have radical change, social unrest, and immense prosperity.
And you can buy all the Cybertrucks you want.
Things are going to get very cheap.
Yes.
So this is actually, in fact, if this doesn't happen, we'd go bankrupt as a country. So the national debt is enormous.
Yeah.
The interest on the national debt exceeds not just the military budget, but the military budget, I think, plus Medicare or Medicaid, one of the two. It's like it's like 1 point something trillion.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Of interest.
Yeah.
Which is growing.
Yes, and the deficit is growing.
Yes.
But so if we don't have AI and robots, we're all going to go bankrupt, and we're headed for economic doom.
But this is not about taxation and redistribution.
Yeah.
No, it's
So how does it work? Reason through it with me.
Listen, by the way, I'm open to ideas here.
Okay.
So it's not like I got this all figured out.
All right. So so I'm wondering if instead of universal high income, if it's universal high stuff and services.
Yes.
UHSS.
Like, I guess, okay, this is my guess for how things
roll out,
play out. And by the way, this is going to be a bumpy ride, and it's not like I know the answers here. But I have decided to look on the bright side, and I'd like to thank you guys for being an inspiration in this regard.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Happy to help.
Yeah. Because I actually think it is better to be an optimist and wrong than a pessimist and right.
Yes, for sure.
For quality of life.
And by the way,
there was not a force of nature. It's under, like, to me, it's really clear that we don't have any system right now to make this go well. But AI is a critical part of making it go well. And at some point, Grok is going to be addressing this exact topic that we're talking about. Or it has to be one of the big 4 AI machines.
I mean, it's coming.
That is dealing with it.
There's no velocity knob, right? There's no on-off switch. It is coming and accelerating.
I call AI and robotics the supersonic tsunami.
Yes.
Which maybe is a little alarming.
I think
it's good. It's good. Well, because
I just like the alliteration.
Call.
This is important for folks to grok, because I don't want to leave people depressed. I want people to understand what's coming. So we're basically demonetizing everything. I mean, labor becomes the cost of CapEx and electricity. AI is basically intelligence available at a de minimis price. So you're able to produce almost anything. Things get down to basic cost of materials and electricity, right? So people can have whatever stuff they want, whatever services they need.
Yes.
It's not, when you say universal high income, it sounds like it's a tax and redistribute, but that's not the case.
I think my best guess for how this will manifest is that prices will drop.
Yeah.
So as the efficiency of production or the provision of services drops, prices will drop. I mean, prices in dollar terms are the ratio between the output of goods and services and the money supply.
Sure.
So if your output of goods and services increases faster than the money supply, you will have deflation, or vice versa. So
It's a good thing we're growing the money supply so quickly, then.
Right. Exactly.
luck.
Yes. That's why I came to let's not worry about growing the money supply. It won't matter.
It makes sense now why Elon Musk said what he said on a different clip that went viral, that saving up in the next 20 or 30 years is going to be useless, because it appears that the way we earn money and the way we live today is going to be different from, they're saying in the next 3 to 7 years. It could be that, it could be 10 or 15, but it seems like there's going to be some difference, major difference in how we live and earn money. That's what they believe. And it's hard to see that, right? Today, it's hard to see it. But, I seen another clip where Elon Musk back in 2007 was speaking about the Tesla before it was widely produced and distributed across the world. And he was talking about how Tesla was going to be one of the first electric vehicles and that people were going to use it and it's going to replace gas-powered vehicles. And we see that happening today. 2007, it was probably harder to imagine a lot of vehicles turning away from gas into electronics, right? And electricity. But today, that's absolutely the case. So fast forward now into 2026, he's saying that in the years to come, it's going to be different how people earn money and how work is done and how we live. And so we can, only thing time will tell how things are going to go, but he was right about what he said before. And so it seems like it's heading in that direction.
Because the output of goods and services actually will grow faster than the money supply. And I think we'll be in this, and this is a prediction I think some others have made, but I will add to it, which is that I think governments will actually be pushing to increase money supply, like
Faster?
Yes.
Isn't it crazy how
They won't be able to waste the money fast enough, which is saying something for government.
Isn't it crazy how close those timelines just randomly worked out? I mean, at the rate, because we're expanding the national debt, not because we're anticipating AI. We were going to do that no matter what.
Yes.
And it's like right on the edge of becoming Argentina.
But yes, it's
right
just,
at the
as
time
the productivity is going to improve dramatically, and it is improving dramatically. I think we'll see. I think we may see high double digit output of goods and services.
Yeah. So that's going to drive
growth. We have to be a little careful about how economists measure things.
Yes.
Yeah, GDP stocks isn't measured.
And yeah.
So yeah, in the beginning of my video, when I said it seems like AI is pushing us into a new world order, this is essentially why I said that, because all of the CEOs and experts of artificial intelligence and robotics all are saying the same thing, that AI is becoming uncontrollable, that it is now inevitable, that it's going to be a major part of our lives. And Jeffrey Hinton, the guy that we showed before, said he is now telling people to use extreme caution, to the point where he's almost begging governments to get involved into how AI is being produced, into how AI is going to be used, into how many different companies are now going to be pushing out different forms of artificial intelligence. Okay. And so, yeah, it seems like we are heading into a different, in the next few years, we're going to be heading into a different era of AI, of technology in general, of a lifestyle, of how we work. I've seen videos already of people that are already speaking about how AI has taken their jobs, how, if they work in certain fields of technology, they're no longer needed for certain jobs. Okay. It's not so far distant out that it's not happening to people already. People are already experiencing the effects of AI. Okay. So with everything that's happening in today's time, I don't think that, it's a good idea to just sit in fear. With everything that's taking place, I think it's a better time now to preach the gospel, tell people about Jesus Christ, keep people informed about what's taking place in the world, and, stay in our word, pray. God tells us, instead of worrying, to pray. You know what I mean? And so I don't think we should sit in fear about what is taking place now and what our future is going to be shortly. But we do need to be aware of what's taking place in the world and not be caught by surprise when we start to see these things come to fruition. But you know, all of it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be bad and gloomy, but definitely AI seems to be one of the main contributors to a new world system being set in place that's going to take away a lot of, you know, things that we would deem normal today and what we would deem as a distant future or some type of, you know, utopian future getting close. You know what I mean? And so just being aware of what takes place in what's happening in our time, but also understanding that God is ultimately in control, even when things look chaotic. All right. But I'm interested to know how you guys feel about this video. Let me know in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and hit the post notification bell so you do not miss another video. My name's Aaron Page. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Until next time, I'm out.